Mahomes acknowledging the crowd and what they've done and what they continue to do.
Chiefs 35, Titans 24. Austin Ryder snaps to Mahomes and a knee. He goes to a knee and a backflip by Demarcus Robinson. That is going to do it. 50 years of waiting.
Chiefs Kingdom is special.
And the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. 50 years. 50 years.
Richard Sherman. Mahomes throws, pass caught. Williams, Kansas City. Kansas City jumps up. Touchdown, Kansas City.
It's coming. Mahomes gets away, puts his eyes downfield and fires and completes it with Kelsey. What else is new? And Kelsey with blocking inside the 20, rumbling inside the 10. Look at this.
Kansas City.
So crazy.
Touchdown, Kansas City. Touchdown, Kansas.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. Look, before we get started into the show, I just want to ask everyone a quick favor. First and most importantly, go hit that share button. It takes 5 seconds to do. It's completely free. So please help us build this legendary community by getting it out there to fellow Chiefs fans. Also, if you end up liking the content, go ahead and follow. If you're on YouTube, smash that notification bell. That way you can keep up with any content that I dropped. Alright, now that we got that done with, let's jump into the show. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Streak Week. Three's a streak, and that's what we got is 3 wins in a row from our Kansas City Chiefs. Let me welcome in my co-host, Chase Riley. Chase, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Well, I
almost did it. I almost did it. Yeah, I know, Chase Riley. How do you feel, man? This is an exciting moment here in the season now.
Yeah, man. It's a heck of a lot different than it was last week.
Man, day and night. Before we get started, before we get too deep into this, let me just go ahead and do the thing, that Facebook and YouTube and everything wants us to do. Go ahead, follow, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do whatever you got to do so you don't ever miss one of our shows. You can find me on Facebook at Jaymes Howell 1, Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. On Twitter as well, same handle at Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk. And then go find me on YouTube, Jaymes Howell Sports. My good buddy here, when he's not on this legendary podcast of ours, he is an insurance agent at American Family Insurance. So go find him on his LinkedIn profile if y'all need some insurance. Go hit him up. He will get you taken care of. He's actually working on a quote for me right now and getting me taken care of as we speak. So you can also find him at C. Riley Sports on Facebook, and of course, we're on Twitter as well, C. Riley Sports. All right, now that we got that done, that's my that's my least favorite part of the whole show. Now let's get into the good stuff. Look, the narrative in the national media right now is Mahomes is back. Is this something we could expect to continue to see from Mahomes moving forward, or is this just a taste and we're still kind of working on things?
I'm gonna go with that this is the Mahomes that we're used to seeing. You know, we talk about, or we have talked about how, maybe some skeptics were right. Maybe the league was catching up to Mahomes, and maybe they did. The two deep safeties, the pushing the pocket down so he can't escape.
Mm-hmm.
And last week, that final play, where we asked that question, is it a game? Is it a drive? Is it just one play that changes everything? That one play last week at the end of the game, and then watching this game this week, has me thinking that Mahomes, while the league caught up to Mahomes, Mahomes is surpassing the league again, doing things that nobody expected him to do. Listen, we all expect Patrick Mahomes to go out there and throw 40-yard deep bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Now Patrick Mahomes is going out there and throwing 10 or 15 yards and just continually doing it and putting them together. So now you're going to ask yourself,
we spoke before about patience and having that patience. And I think he's starting to realize, Travis Kelce being wide open. I'm sure he got crap about that. When Kelsey's wide open and he goes for the deep ball, and he's starting to see it. And to your point, I think that the league did catch up to him. The league absolutely caught up to him. They played him with the two-man safeties that cover two defense, and it took a little bit to get adjusted to. See, this is something that usually happens in the off season when you try to make adjustments to play against what defenses are showing you. That usually takes time, and it usually takes implementing new plays, changing the playbook around a little bit, still within the same scheme, but you have to kind of change a few things, and that usually takes time. So I want to give Mahomes and Andy Reid credit because they've accomplished that in a matter of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been quite impressive, and I absolutely think Mahomes is back. To answer the question, I think Mahomes is back, and I think we saw it on that last play of the Green Bay drive, and it was like there was this invisible wall, and they had been chipping away at it and chipping away at it and chipping away at it, trying to break through. And on that last play, they made a hole. They saw light on the end of the tunnel, and they made a hole through that invisible wall. And then in this game, he came in there and he Kool-Aid man that shit, and he busted right through that wall. and so I absolutely think he's back. He looked phenomenal. His pocket presence was above average. I'm not gonna say it was perfect. He did have some struggles here and there. But man, I seen him protect his own guys. Andrew Wiley got beat on the outside by Max Crosby with a spin move to the inside, and Mahomes just very calmly, very easily moved to the outside and protected Andrew Wiley and reset up that block. And so I thought that was a step forward for Mahomes. This is some of the things that we've been kind of critiquing him about. And I think that he's addressing them, and we're starting to see him improve. And if I was defensive coordinators from any other team, I'd start to get a little worried. And I think they are. I think they're still scared. But, more importantly, like Mahomes played great, but if you don't have a supporting cast, you ain't much. And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are playmakers who have kind of been quiet. They both showed up.
Yep.
So what was the difference? What was the biggest difference between this game and the couple of games previously?
Mahomes. That's this offense starts and ends with Patrick Mahomes. That's how this offense will be from now on for the next 10 years. This
So you don't
offense,
think that maybe because Travis Kelce's been a little banged up, that's kind of hurt his production at all?
I think it has. If you look at him this past game, he's still a little banged up. But all of these playmakers, they don't produce without Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. So, it starts and ends with him.
And I think we kind of seen that. There was a lot of accuracy issues that we talked about in weeks past from Mahomes, and timing issues and being uncomfortable in the pocket, and I think it all starts, like you were saying, with Mahomes.
Yeah, we can blame drop passes a few times, but you don't get 350 plus yards, and you can't, when that's your average, you can't blame a drop pass on it not having a good game. That, like I said, that offense starts and ends with Patrick Mahomes, and his production, his play time was very, very not poor, but very under what we have become accustomed to. And that last play,
I'll say it was poor. It was bad.
Absolutely. But that last play of the Green Bay game, and then this game has just he came out there and he looked like 2019, 2020 Patrick Mahomes. And that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big part of it was the sudden emergence, and I say sudden, and it's kind of sudden, but the sudden emergence of Darrell Williams. And, we all knew that Darrell Williams was a legitimate back. Well, I don't think any of us thought that he was elite. Some of us would argue whether or not he was running back one material or not. I think that he just kind of put everyone on notice Sunday night. I wanted to say last night, but yeah, Sunday night. He just put everyone on notice. What a game from Darrell Williams.
Darrell Williams had a phenomenal game. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, if we wouldn't have traded Damian Williams and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still healthy, Darrell Williams isn't on this team.
Yeah.
And, Darrell Williams was third on the depth chart when Clyde Edwards-Helaire got injured, or was he second?
I think he was second. I think he was second on the depth chart.
Yeah, because I think that they wanted Clyde Edwards-Helaire they wanted him to take the majority of the load. With now bearing injury and everything, man, I'm a big Derek Gore fan. Was a big Derek Gore fan, in preseason. I thought, man, you let Derek Gore come in this offense, and he's gonna run Darrell Williams out of town, or at least down the depth chart. But
he ain't having it.
It's crazy, man. Like I have purposely shied from watching Darrell Williams. Like I can see him out of the corner of my eye. Like, kid, you look good. That's awesome. Yeah. But I want to go see this guy. I want to go see Derek Gore. I want Derek Gore to come in. You're cool, but I need more Derek Gore. And man,
I think he kind of got a stigma of just being a backup.
Yeah. And I think, for me, that was Darrell Williams, like showing people like me who were big Derek Gore fans, that was Darrell Williams' way of saying, you know what, hey, I'm here. And it wasn't just a like, hey, I belong on this team type of game. Dude, that catch. Yeah. Darrell Williams is telling you and me and other people, like, yo, I don't just belong on this team. I'm a playmaker on this team.
He brought out his inner Randy Moss on that one.
Man, that was
Jesus.
That was a phenomenal play. He went up and got it. That game he ran like he had something to play for.
Yeah. And so he has 144 all-purpose yards, 100 plus receiving. And I noticed that, they let Patrick Mahomes throw the ball 50 times. He threw the ball, and I love it. I love it. And so, to my point, I think that Andy Reid had a great game, because his decision, I'm sure it wasn't in the game plan to let Mahomes throw it 50 times. But when Mahomes heated up, it became the game plan real quick. And so also I want to commend Andy Reid in his decision to stay with Darrell Williams, because obviously Darrell Williams is the premium back. He's the pass catcher, from the backfield. He's the pass catching running back, and he is the guy to go to on the team. And while everyone was clamoring for Derek Gore or Jerick McKinnon, I know not many, but I did see him out there. Andy Reid stuck with his guy. And it finally paid off. And so, I want to commend Andy Reid for not only his ability to adapt mid-game and let Mahomes throw the ball when Mahomes got hot, but also his ability to be stern with his decisions and committed with his decisions with the running back. I thought that played out. They've always said, it's process. We're getting it together, and we all kind of thought it was coach talk. Come to find out, it was a process, and they're starting to get it together, and everything that he said is coming to fruition. So I want to talk about the offensive line, because they've got what's his name out there, Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby for the Raiders. And those are very good pass rushers. And I really want to talk more specifically, not just the offensive line, but Andrew Wiley. Andrew freaking Wiley, third string offensive tackle. Look, everyone give it up for Andrew Wiley, because he held it. He held his job in there, and he didn't let Max Crosby get in there at all. Shut it down, So I was really impressed with Andrew Wiley and the whole offensive line, but Andrew Wiley, that's my dude. What's your thoughts, my man?
Well, I don't know if you heard during the broadcast or not. They mentioned that Wiley and Crosby went to high school together.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. So I just, I thought that was interesting too. Kind of makes you wonder. Was that predetermined? Hey, Mason lines up on the right. We're gonna put Wiley down on the right, because Wiley has some history, and if somebody can punch this guy in the mouth, it's gonna be Andrew Wiley.
Yeah, maybe he had just a little bit of intel, that could help him out, and that might be why he performed so well. It is interesting that they did go. What you say, high school or college, or what was it?
It was high school or college. It was one of the two, but they had mentioned that the two guys had been lining up against each other for a while. So
yeah. All right, guys. Real quick, let's go to the comment board real quick. Donnie Ray Craven, yo, let's go. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. I appreciate you being in here every single week. Of course, Connie Byatt, Mama Bear, in the house with some applause. Donnie Ray Craven, oh yeah, Wiley Coyote. Love it. Love it.
I like it.
And Donnie brings up a good point right here. Kelsey had some good chips to help him out. And not just Kelsey, the tight end group all together were chipping Max Crosby. He's absolutely right. He was helping him out. They had a game plan to deal with that pass rush, and they weren't going to leave Andrew Wiley exposed, out on an island. And so once again, like I was just saying before, kudos to Andy Reid, because man, they had it figured out. They had a great game plan, and it extended past the first 20 plays or scripted plays, however many scripted plays they might have. It extended past that, and we've seen it the whole game.
Yeah.
Orlando Brown. Okay, so I really thought that Orlando Brown would kind of struggle in this game because he's susceptible to the speed rush. And Ngakoue, that's his go-to move is that speed rush. So I thought it was just a natural mismatch there. And so I also want to give kudos to Orlando Brown because I thought he did a great job over there against Ngakoue. I mean, the whole line. We've heard the stories about Creed Humphrey's the best center in the league. That's great. I love it. I love that. Trey Smith is a monster. He's a bully. I love that. But when our weakest points, Joe Thuney, he's Joe Thuney. He's going to be solid. Our weakest points were Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley, and I think they had the strongest games out of everyone on the line. And when that happens, you see the results.
Yep. Agreed.
So we do have some more comments to get to. Daniel Hibden, hey, buddy, appreciate you tuning in tonight. Best game I've seen him play all year. I mean, I can't disagree. It was well-rounded the whole way through. And, there's not very many bad things to talk about, and I expect us to have a very positive show tonight because of it. And I love that.
Yeah.
Before we do get punch drunk on positivity, I do kind of want to speak on some things that we could possibly improve upon that I've seen. And, Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. Now, I know it ain't on the stat sheet, but they should have been interceptions. So he threw 2 passes that were directly in the hands of defenders. Tyreek Hill fumbled the ball. Mike Hughes fumbled the ball on that punt return. I think ball security is still an issue. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, they definitely, still have some kinks to work out, to mesh through. I did notice the almost interceptions, you talked about. Definitely. Knock on wood, they weren't, anything to be worried about. But I think it's still something that, needs to be addressed by the coaches. Football fundamentals, you got to protect that ball. Tyreek fumbling it is almost unexcusable because of the level that Tyreek is. He's been returning kicks for a while, most of his career, if not all of his career. He's one of the top wide receivers in the league. Ball security is definitely something where, that shouldn't be an issue at the level that Tyreek is at.
Well, and I think for any successful team, if you're going to be successful in the NFL, there's 2 major things that you have to have. And that's discipline and not you can't pick up a bunch of penalties. You have to be fundamentally sound. You can't be holding. You can't be defensive PI, anything like that, a whole bunch, and ball security. And I think that we've kind of cleaned up the penalties for the most part. Like our defensive backs, I know that we get like holding penalties and people get frustrated about that. Let them be aggressive. If they pick up a couple penalties here and there, it's okay. Let them be aggressive. If they're going to come up with turnovers and play like they've been playing, which we'll get to here in a little bit, let these guys – penalties are okay sometimes. Sometimes it's indicative of the play style that is happening out on the field. So we are getting a flood of comments in. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hey, real quick, while we got people in here, let's go ahead and ask everyone to like this stream, share it. Let's try to get more people in here, and keep this comment train going. You know, we love being able to talk to you guys. So go hit that share button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell on YouTube. Yada yada yada, all that good stuff. Help us out, guys. Let's get it out here to more Chiefs fans. Daniel Hibden says the defense looked good and the offense looked dang good. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's the other way around. I think the offense looked good and the defense looked damn good. You know, I think the highlight of the whole game was the defensive side. And you know, that's kind of why we held defense to the second half of the show, because we saving the best for last. Can Kansas City still make the playoffs? From Jonathan Lamport. Hey, Jonathan, appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Can Kansas City still make the playoffs? Not only can Kansas City still make the playoffs, my friend. Let me ask you guys this. How many teams do y'all think have more wins in the AFC than Kansas City? I'll tell you, it's just one, and it's the Tennessee Titans. And it's the only team that's been able to establish themselves in the AFC as a dominant force. The rest of the AFC is up for grabs. We all have 6 wins, and if Kansas City can continue to play like this, not only will they make the playoffs, they will win the AFC West, and will end up contending. I don't know if we'll get it or not, but we will end up contending for that number 1 spot if they continue to play like this. You know, this Dallas game coming up is going to be a tough game. Just like we have a good offensive line, we got the second best offensive line in the league. Well, Dallas has the first best offensive line, and our defense hasn't been our defensive line hasn't been producing a lot of sacks. They've been getting pressures, not a whole lot of sacks. Daniel Hibden, that special team came up with some magic on that punt that turned into a pass. I was like, WTF? Where did that come from? Me too. And I'll tell you where it came from. It came from the aggressive nature of this team. And usually there's 2 guys out there covering that gunner, and they caught them trying to be aggressive and go after that punt, and they made him pay for it. And what'd you think of that pass, Chase? Because gosh darn it, that was a bullet.
Yeah, Tommy's got a cannon on him, baby, man. That was good stuff. I was shocked. You know, there is an aggressive nature to this team, you know. So to see Dave Toub come out and do that, you know, like I said, I was shocked, but looking at the history of Dave Toub and whatnot, I mean, it was the right play at the right time. It was a momentum shift for damn sure in that game. And I'll give Dave Toub credit. Since Dave Toub has been here, he has a knack for drawing up some special teams plays where they're just momentum shifts. And that was one of them. So it was a great play.
But, you know, to speak about Dave Toub, okay, so a lot of people always wonder, why does Dorian O'Daniel have a spot on the team? Why does Ben Neiman have a spot on the team? Those are Dave Toub guys. And they got to be able to contribute in other ways, you know, as far as depth goes. But the main reason some of these guys, Marcus Kemp is another example. Main reason some of these guys have jobs on this team or spots on this team is because of Dave Toub, and because they really do prioritize special teams, you know, here in Kansas City. And I love it. You know, we don't see as many, you know, punt returns, but though the punt return we did see, it was good. It was a little weird. They had two returners back there. So kind of, and then we fumbled it, but it was good. Overall, special teams has always been a high point since Dave Tobe has taken over in that department. Donnie Ray Craven, KC 28-20 over them boys. That is a lot of faith in the defense. This is, the Cowboys have maybe the best wide receiver group in the NFL. They have the best offensive line. Dak Prescott is no chump back there. He's very good. He's probably having the best year of his career. But I agree with you. I think this defense is going to shut them down. I'm excited about this defense. I'm a defensive guy. I think they are going to shut them Cowboys down. Fittenize them.
I like it.
I love it. Okay, so I guess we're talking about the defense, huh?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
defensive line. Okay, so I always kind of break the defense up into two parts, right? And we kind of talked about this before this show. You got your pass stoppers and you got your run stoppers. And your pass stoppers are your cornerbacks and your safeties. And your run stoppers are your linebackers and your linemen. And I think both groups did phenomenal job. The weakest point was our linemen. And I think it's just because they're not getting to the quarterback. What do you think is going on here, man? Is it I see them getting pressures, but they're just not getting to the quarterback. Do you think it's just something that'll change as the season goes on? Or what's your thoughts on it, man?
I think if Spagnuolo stays conservative, I don't think you're going to see very many sacks. You're going to see some QB pressures and whatnot, but piggybacking off of that, what I saw on Sunday was the only bright spot. And I know I give Steve Spagnuolo a lot of shit. I've been on him on this show. Personally, I've been on him since we hired him. I didn't want the Chiefs to hire him, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. I think our defense has been borderline mediocre, with the bright spots of Chris Jones and Tyrann Mathieu. But the one thing that Steve Spagnuolo can do, he can draw up a blitz play.
Mm-hmm.
Between nickel blitzes, nano blitzes, zero blitzes, Mike blitzes, Spagnuolo has an arsenal of blitzes that he calls. And I saw those this past Sunday. Did they lead to a lot of sacks? I think the team had 3 sacks, maybe 2.
Yeah, I know Jerron Reed got 1.
Yep.
I think Chris Jones got 1.
Yep.
And then I want to say Tyrann Mathieu. But yeah. I can't. Don't quote me on that.
But watching the game and watching how many times they sacked the quarterback, and then watch how many times that QB pressure was emphasized. QB pressure was a point of emphasis this week. There was a lot of blitzes being drawn up, and you saw that all phases of that defense, your pass defense, your run defense, all benefited from that. So big kudos to Steve Spagnuolo. It's almost like Steve Spagnuolo knew that Chiefs fans weren't happy with his job. Kind of like another guy that we talk about on this show.
Yeah.
I might do my own transition here. James, we give Dirty Dan a lot of snot on this show, man. And what does Dirty Dan do?
Yeah, he does exactly what we said that he was gonna do, and just Just come up with this play to try to save his job. And I kind of already expressed my opinion with you, but to tell everyone else, it's like that don't impress me much, man, because I know it's an interception, but let's be real, Jerron Reed deserves credit for that.
Yeah, that interception doesn't happen without Jerron Reed. But
and he almost cost the interception.
Yeah.
He went over there. It was like he went over there and stole that ball from Juan Thornhill so he could try to save his job. Man, that's not good enough in my book. I will, this is not a Dirty Dan bashing session because he played good. He was in the right spot. He didn't have a blown coverage. He wasn't, he did all right. So, if KC plays like they did this past week, this Cowboys game is going to be a great game. I think if KC plays like they did this last week, I think Kansas City wins by 2, maybe even 3 possessions.
Agreed.
Right. Lucky he caught it. Yeah. Yeah, man. If that was a play in baseball, they'd be getting the heat right now, for lack of communication. If that's a pop fly in baseball, man, that's an ugly play. You can't, that's not enough, Dan. You got to do it. Give me another one. But, okay, so pass rush. I don't, like you said, there's a lot of pressures. And going into this game against Derek Carr, we kind of knew that if you can get in Derek Carr's face and if you can disrupt him, he loses his freaking mind back there. And we saw it. He twice he just launched it up for anyone to grab. But I do think that they're generating that. I agree with you. I think they're generating that pass rush, not from just the production we get from the line, but through blitzes. We blitz more than almost any team in the NFL. I think that's because of the elevated play that we've had from our secondary. And that kind of ties into what you were saying with Steve Spagnuolo. Look, Steve Spagnuolo has made changes to this defense. First, it was Dirty Dan. We get Juan Thornhill in there. Then in week 5, Rashad Fenton gets put in and replaces Mike Hughes. Since that time, Rashad Fenton is the number 1 cornerback in the league. And grades out like 4 points higher than Jalen Ramsey, who's in second. So, what's your thoughts on that? Is that not a little surprising or what?
When I very first found it out, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, that was a humongous surprise to me because I wasn't paying attention to it. I pay attention to a lot of what goes on with the defensive line on the defense, and a little bit of Tyrann Mathieu. But as far as the defensive backs go, I wasn't paying much attention to them other than Snead. And I think Snead's a stud. So then when I saw that about Fenton, I had to go back and look at some of those games. And Fenton's playing damn good shutdown football. And, you and I talked about this and I'll kind of say it on here. I don't know where the time period was. I feel like it was just last week we were talking about, this defense being 32nd in every single category. And then I look and I find out that Rashad Fenton is number 1. What? Like, yeah. Let's not talk. Let's, hey, fantastic. I'm glad that Patrick Mahomes is starting to look like Patrick Mahomes because that's a big deal to me. But for that defense to turn around and do what it's done in the past 4 or 5 weeks, it's nuts to me. That's crazy. So
I'm putting out a little story later on, a little video for everyone to watch, but so I don't want to give away too much. But look, check it out. Kansas City Chiefs defense in the past 5 weeks, right, have went from a historically bad defense allowing 32.6 points a game, 32 freaking points a game, right? Now, in the past 5 weeks, they've only allowed 15.6. I mean, what a drastic turnaround.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, Melvin Ingram has a lot to do with that. And I think, they did a fantastic job of shutting down Darren Waller, tight end over there in Oakland or Las Vegas.
Yep.
And a lot of that had to do with Melvin Ingram. He was beating Darren Waller up on the line,
Yes.
just chipping him off the line and disrupting his routes. And I think we got a steal in Melvin Ingram.
I think we did too. I think, for a 6th round, I don't see that, I don't see that value being matched where Ingram is. He's definitely not going to be. I think people expected him to turn out to be the same, if not better than he was coming out of the draft. That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Being where he is now, we had to look, okay, what was the issue in Pittsburgh? The issue in Pittsburgh was he wanted to play more. That defensive front there, it's bloated. There's not a whole lot of room there for him. So a 6th round pick to come in and get a guy to help put pressure, is it going to create sacks? Hopefully. Cool. But right now we're getting pressure on the quarterback. And when you play guys like Dak Prescott, Oakland's quarterback, Derek Carr. When you're playing quarterbacks like that are sensitive to the pressure, it's a fantastic problem to have, to get rid of a 6th round pick for a guy like Ingram.
Yeah, I think that it really solidified that side of the defensive line, because I'm not so sure that the Kansas City Chiefs trust Alex Okafor out there. As a rotational guy, maybe, but not in the role that they have Ingram in.
Oh no, Okafor, who has been a great asset to this team for the past few seasons, has always been rotating. So they're gonna keep him rotated. I mean, they're not gonna just put it on him now. I mean, that's not gonna happen.
Well, and the good news is, we do have Colin Saunders coming back from injury. And so that'll help, with a little bit of depth as well. And I really expected Colin Saunders to kind of make a step forward this year, and due to injury, he hasn't been able to. So I'm excited to get him back and see what kind of production he can give us towards the push towards the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's see. Y'all glad to see y'all like talking between yourselves. I love that. We are trying to build this legendary community. So, feel free, make friends, say hi to somebody while you're at it. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, do what you got to do, and help us out. Let's get this community built, and get all the Chiefs fans that we know in here with us and get it popping. Speaking of the secondary, you were talking about L'Jarius Sneed earlier. I'm a big fan of L'Jarius Sneed, and as is many Chiefs fans, and that's exactly why I have decided to give away this 8x10 signed of our boy L'Jarius Sneed. It is certified, got a certificate of authenticity. I'm not sure how we're going to give it away just yet. We'll probably do a raffle of some sort. It is going to involve you guys sharing this stream. So get some practice in right now and hit that share button. And we will figure it out. And some lucky fan out there will get that 8x10 of L'Jarius Sneed. Donnie Ray Craven says the whole secondary is doing amazing. Since they took out Dirty Dan and they put in Rashad Fitton, this is exactly kind of what I expected this secondary to look like at the beginning of the season. The talent's there. Right? It's Juan Thornhill and Tyrann Mathieu. Juan Thornhill's a stud. We all know it. He's just coming back from his injury, and he's starting to get back into form. Charvarius Ward, I'm not very high about. I kind of think he's always been overrated, but he's still solid. And then we got L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fitton, who we just talked about as the number one cornerback in the league. I don't see a weak point. What's your thoughts on that, Chase?
Well, Sneed had that phenomenal interception. So Sneed coming into his own, starting to get a little bit more flexible out there. I think, with him and Fenton both on the ends, I think that's a good combination for, especially, them finding a rhythm and getting into their own in a game coming up against probably the best wide receiver core in the NFL with the Cowboys. So, this defense coming around and starting to mesh together and forming their identity. Because, like I said, the Chiefs have always had an identity of the offense. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. That was the Chiefs. This defense now, in the past 5 weeks, has made a phenomenal turnaround, and they are making their own identity. And it's a fantastic time because this game coming up is going to determine what the Chiefs are going to do for the rest of the season. Yeah. I've made the comment, if the Chiefs beat the Cowboys this weekend, I don't think there's another team on the schedule that's going to beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to run the table. If the Chiefs beat the Cowboys this weekend, I'm calling it. They're going to go 12-4. If they beat the Cowboys this weekend, they're going to run the table.
I think that if I kind of agree with you. If they could go out and not just beat the Cowboys, but they got to look the part too. They can't just kind of squeak by and have a nasty, ugly game. But if they go out and they look like we saw against the Raiders, and they go out and even if it's a close game, they go out there and beat the Cowboys, but they still look good. I don't see anyone else beating us. We've got Pittsburgh, we've got the Chargers, we got the Broncos twice. And we got the Bengals, and I know you had mentioned that the Chargers, I think, is what you said was your biggest worry. Mine's the Bengals, but neither one of them are even a legitimate threat if they play like we saw on Sunday night. So I do kind of want to talk about the game coming up. Last week we didn't really talk too much about the game, but so I do want to get it in this week. And we are trying to get a show together for Sunday mornings. We're trying to pull. We've ran into a couple obstacles here and there, but come check us out on Sunday mornings. It'll be like Jaymes Howell's Chiefs pregame show right there on Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk Facebook page. We'll probably go live on YouTube. So yeah, make sure you follow along. This is why it's important that y'all follow along, and so you don't ever miss anything. But for now, we mentioned that the Dallas Cowboys, they have a great offense. Dalton Schultz, their tight end, is really kind of stepping into form, is kind of making a spot on that team and establishing himself. We all know about CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Tony Parker, Ezekiel Elliott. These guys, I mean, they're loaded with stars, star-studded. What does Kansas City have to do to slow these guys down?
That defense needs to play lights out like they played on Sunday night. That defense, the reality, they're not going to hold the Cowboys to 14 points.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are scoring 31.6 average. They're averaging 31.6 points per game.
Yeah.
They're the first overall scoring offense in the NFL. And so, but this defense playing the way they've played the past 2 weeks, they're showing that they can play up to par. So I have no doubt in my mind that this defense will keep up with the Cowboys offense.
Well, I think it starts with the pass rush.
Yep. Agreed.
I think if we can get Dak Prescott off of his spot and get him moving around, disrupt some timing, we got the cornerbacks, and that's why Steve Spagnuolo trusts his blitz so much, is because we have the cornerbacks in place to lock people down.
Yep.
Now these are above average. These are elite, even borderline elite wide receivers that we're going up against. A tall task for anybody. But I think they got it in them. I think that they hold this Cowboys offense to 21 points, maybe even less. Do I think we're going to completely shut them down? No. This is like a Mahomes situation. You can't stop them, but you could slow them down. And you try to slow them down as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, and then over on the offensive side, so they've got a cornerback over there in Dallas, Trevon Diggs, right? Worst cornerback to fucking on the team statistically, but he is a ball hawker. He will come and steal that ball from you. He lets up a lot of big plays. So, do you expect? Okay, so with the aggressiveness that Kansas City has kind of shown over the past couple of weeks, you expect that to be a weak point that they target? Or does Andy Reid kind of go back to his conservative side of things and shy away because dude's gotten so many turnovers or interceptions and whatnot already?
I think you'll see them maybe shy away from it a little bit, not too much. I think Mahomes feels what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're watching it and we're talking about it, but I think Mahomes feels it that he knows, like, hey, this fire's just getting started. So he's gonna want to go out there and get that ball in the air. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's going to be the emphasis. Mahomes coming into this, starting to look like the Mahomes we're used to. That's going to be your key to victory for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I thought that, getting Darrell Williams was really important too, and I think they need to build upon that. In Andy Reid's time here, it's almost as if Andy Reid likes to run the ball, and his version of running the ball is short passes to the running back, in the flat, screens, shit like that. That's how he runs the ball.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really, I thought that correlated the fact that Darrell Williams had a magnificent game and Mahomes broke out as well, and so I hope to see more running back, whether it be Darrell Williams or Derek Gore or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who they say might be back for this game. I don't care who it is. I would like to see him utilized in the same fashion because
Well, I hope it's Helaire because my fantasy team is suffering right now. So I need to leave.
Well, maybe it was the fact that you picked Helaire for your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, I ain't got no room to talk, man. My team's in shambles. So all right, man. You got a prediction for this game coming up?
I do. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a slugfest. I think the defense is still going to look good, but I think they're going to give up some points. But I think we're going to score more. So I'm going 38-30 Chiefs.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the defense, I'm going to give the defense a little bit more credit. I also have the Chiefs at 38 points. But I'm going to go 38-24 Kansas City. And you know, with that said, I think if Kansas City holds this offense to 24 points, they did a fantastic job. You know, if you told me that, hey, you know, Kansas City is going to hold them to 24, I would take that all day.
Yep.
So, all right, man. Anything else you want to talk about tonight?
I don't have much of anything other than this win feels good, man. I like this one.
I'm telling you, man, it really does feel good. It kind of feels back to, I mean, they feel back. The Chiefs feel like they're back. And you know, I kind of struggled this week just because of the fact that, you know, doing this and doing these podcasts and trying to get into this career, it's like I have to throttle back my biased opinion. And as a fan, I wanna just be as giddy as a schoolgirl.
Yeah,
you know.
No, you know, it's understandable. I mean, it's like, you know, but we're averaging about an hour on these shows. You know, just as much for you as it is for me. I'm excited as hell, man. I'd love nothing more than to talk about all the good and all the glitz and the glamour of Sunday night. There was some negatives. We addressed those, you know.
And just like, you know, when you try to be great, man, even when you hit good, when you're good at something, you figure out how you can be better.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's what they're doing in the locker room and whatnot. So it's just encouraging. It's encouraging. It's exciting. It's a lot more fun to do this job when we're winning, and we don't have to look at tape that is just terrible to look at. It's a lot more fun. So I'm excited to be in this position. Chiefs are number 1 in the AFC West, right where they should be.
Absolutely.
You know, it was almost as if they planned the ultimate comeback. But, you know,
like
we got into this comeback mode, you know, in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and they were like, oh, let's just do it throughout the season. You know, we'll wait until we
hey, a 21 point comeback is cool, but what about 6 games back?
Yeah. What if we go 6 games down and then we come back and win it? You know.
Yeah. 4 games back or whatever. Let's go 4 games down and let's run the fucking table.
Yeah, they're frustrating, but you know, you gotta love them, man. If you're a Chiefs fan, if you're a true Chiefs fan, not some bandwagon fan, man, you gotta love them. So yeah, man. I think that does it for us. Hey guys, if you're still with us, appreciate you staying. If you catch us later, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the share, subscribe, notification bell on YouTube, all that good jazz. Go check us out. Like I said before, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Chase is on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. It was a pleasure to have everyone in here. We loved all the comments. I mean, I did. I can't speak for Chase, but I know. Donnie says, Hey, I missed this one. We were talking about the Legarius
Giveaway.
Sneeze. So you got my Addy. Just send it my way. Now, we'll see about that, buddy. Honestly, I almost just kind of want to keep it.
now that Sneed is starting to light it up, man.
Well, the funny thing is right over there. I've got another one just like it. It's all framed up, and yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't give it away if I didn't already have it.
There you
go. Man, what a fun show. All right, guys, look, we're gonna get out of here. For my buddy Chase Riley, I'm Jaymes Howell. This was Jaymes Howell's Chiefs Talk, and as always, stay legendary, my friends.